कि अगर मैं जब मैं दोबारा चेक करूँ तो मुझे क्या क्या स्टेप्स का ध्यान रखना है, क्या क्या नहीं करना।
और जस्ट मेक श्योर कि जो प्रीएम्पशन है ना, प्रायोरिटी जो हम
हम्म।
करते हैं, जो
हम्म।
ओवरराइड इनेबल डिसेबल
हम्म।
का जो हमारा कमांड है,
हम्म।
उसको आप मान के चलो जिसको प्राइमरी है उसको प्राइमरी रखना है तो हायर रखना उसका।
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही किया था, ऐसे ही किया था।
उसमें प्रीएम्पशन जो ओवरराइड है उसको इनेबल करके रखना।
हम्म।
सेकंड कि जो कॉन्फ़िगरेशन है, राइट, पहले
हम्म।
एचए बना लेना, फिर जाके कॉन्फ़िग सिंक कर देना, दोनों में कॉन्फ़िग भी सिंक होना चाहिए। तो बिफोर मतलब पुटिंग इन प्रोडक्शन आप एचए बना के उनकी कॉन्फ़िगरेशन को सिंक कर लो, फिर आपका हो जाना चाहिए, मतलब कोई दिक्कत नहीं आना चाहिए।
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही किया था, एचए बना के उसके बाद एचए केबल लगाई, मेरा कॉन्फ़िगर जैसे हम एचए केबल लगाई थी मैंने, तो
हम्म।
मेरे 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 नेटवर्क में इंटरनेट चलना बंद हो गया था,
अच्छा।
केबल लगाते के साथ ही।
ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ होगा
हाँ, मुझे भी लग रहा है।
टेक्निकली। दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल। अगर एचए आपका सिंक है ना
हम्म।
तो होना चाहिए, बट कई बार नेटवर्क है कुछ भी माल फंक्शन कर जाता है
ठीक।
और हमें पता भी नहीं चलता है, राइट। Okay, guys, so where are the rest of the people? Let me start my recording. Okay, so we have done discussion. Let me see what is the IP of this firewall meanwhile. IP we have on this firewall port 160. Let's wait 1 more minute, okay? Then we'll start. Just wait for 1 more minute. All right, so let's start without any further wait. So in previous session, we configured multiple type of the interfaces where we have done discussion about the switch interface, like software switch interface. We have done discussion about the redundant interface. We have done discussion about the VLAN, inter-VLAN routing as well. So what we are going to do today? So the first thing, I'll configure the aggregate interface. Okay. So how we can aggregate the interfaces, and based on the aggregation, how we can combine the like two interface as a one, and we can make the communication as well. So last time we make the redundant. The redundant means like one interface is going to down, the other is going to be takeover. So we seen how the slave interface we can figure out over the command, and how the priority is enabled, and then how when the primary interface based on the port ID is going to be up, then your secondary is going to be a standby, and once primary is going to be down, secondary is going to be again as active. So now we have another type of the interface you guys see here, that is the aggregate interface. So what is aggregate interface? So this is similar to the like LSAP and PHGP, which we know like in the link aggregation control protocols, right? LSAP and port aggregation control protocol is PHGP. So PHGP is a Cisco proprietary, right? And LSCP is the open standard, means this is going to be used for the every vendor devices, but this is just for the Cisco. So we are not going to use this. So that's why you can see this is IEEE based, IEEE 802.3D, and this is just going to be used for the link aggregation. So same thing we are going to do that, means I want to just increase the link capacity. So in this scenario, this port 2 and port 3 is going to be act as a aggregate interface, and I'll just configure some IP address, and my bandwidth is going to be increased. This side also I can do the aggregations so that this all port is going to be aggregated mode. So how this aggregation configuration is going to be happen? Let's see that. So if I want to do on the firewall, give me 1 minute. Where is GUI? Yeah, this is GUI. So first thing, if I want to make these two interfaces as an aggregated interface, 2 and 3. So this is not possible because they already assign in the redundant mode. So we have to first remove, and then we have to again configure on the uh, on this particular aggregate interface. So just wait. So let me try to remove. So if I'm going here and you can see there is no delete button available. So how I can just remove that? So to just delete, make sure we have the one of the reference number. Always. Hi, Swapnil, please mute. Yeah, so we just have to make sure this reference number must be disabled, means must be like deleted first. Then we can just only delete these interfaces. Then these interfaces is going to be free, and further we can do the configuration. So this is my reference number. Let me just delete it. So once this has been deleted, you will see that after that, if I click on it, I have the delete option available. So whenever we have any reference number, means 1, 2, 3, that means you cannot delete those kind of the any policy, any interface, any configuration. So first delete the reference number, then we can delete the rest of the configuration.
Sir, this reference number is indicate, does it mean it is using in two side? There's a two reference number two. So
So reference number 2 means this has been like, if you click on here, you can see this is for just 3, right? So this might be using for 3 different location, might be the policy, right? Might be the routing, like that.
so
So
how
we
come I know ki this villain is where in routing policy?
see
Okay,
now
okay,
you can
okay,
see
got
there
it,
are
got
two
it, got it,
policy, one is a VLAN.
got it, got
What
it.
we are seeing here, right? So you just have to click, you are going to figure it out like where it is using. So now once I deleted, now if I click on it and just I delete this interface will be released. Okay, now I'll have to make the aggregate interface. So how can I do that? I just go here, interface, and I can just make as a whatever I want to give, aggregate interface. It is not going to take that much long. And then here I have to select the aggregate interface. Now it is going to ask which two interface or three interface you want to make the aggregation. So I need to select these interface, 2 and 3. So simply I'll go here and I'll make the 2 and 3. And if I want to define any IP address, I can define as well. Let's suppose I want to define what IP 30, right? So I can define even the IP address 30 as well. So 30.30.30.1/24. And I want to enable the ping. This is going to be happen. And simply I click OK. So my one side aggregation has been done. Means this much only configuration I have to do that, and this has been done. So how I can do that another side? On the switch side, so they can create the port channel, means they can create the link aggregation protocol. By using the link aggregation protocol, they can create the port channel. Let us see, this port is showing up and up, there is no problem at all. But if you're trying to ping this interface, probably it is not going to work. Let me see that. Or might be the one port is going to be come in a picture, and then this is going to work for you. So show IP, there is no IP, so I'll configure the IP 30.30.30.30/24 and gateway. I'll give that. So this is done. And let me ping this IP address. So it is not pinging because they are mismatched in the parameter. So we have to make them reachable. So we just have to make this switch also as a aggregated port. So let me do that configuration on the switch side, how it is going to happen. Let me see if we have the VLAN or not. We created VLAN 30 or not. VLAN brief. Yeah, there is VLAN 30 is already available. So we just have to configure the aggregated port. So I'll go here, config terminal, and I'll configure interface range. I just have to two interfaces, 0x1 and 0x2. Gig 0x1 to 2. And I'll make that channel group any name I can give. Like let's suppose I give the 1, 2, right? And I'll just have to give like mode, which mode I want to activate. So I will make them active. Active can just create the port channel. And see, this port channel has been created. And I just want to show Ether channel summary. So see, this is the port we just created, and you can see the status is suspended right now. This is suspended because it is not negotiating. That protocol is LSAP, but somehow it is not negotiating.
So it is capital S, na? Layer 2.
Yeah, capital S.
Okay, got it.
Capital S.
Okay, small S. Yeah, it's suspended.
Layer 2 in use.
Yes, it's suspended state. It's not negotiating. So let me see. Let me see.
The configuration of GI02.
Let me check. Gig 0x1. So it's access port 30. This is
here access configuration is missing.
yes. So let me just do this configuration. Let me just, okay. So we see this has been, port has been up. Let me check the port channel status. So Ether channel summary. So still suspended state. Oh, FortiGate not negotiating. Port management. Should negotiate it. Let me just check what is happening here. Yeah, it's pinging. You guys see that? There is a communication. Probably the port is provisioned. This one is provisioned, but another port is showing in the suspended state. Bundle in the port channel, but this port is suspended, but we have the communication. So not worry, we will just have to understand how to make. So might be there is some like config issue in the switch side, or might be switch is not misbehaving, like not correctly behaving. But in the FortiGate firewall, you just have to understand, if you have to enable that, you just have to go on the port. You just have to make the aggregated, and then you just have to make the port. And then if you want to define the IP address, that we define, and it start working for us. So now I just make the both port as a access port, and then I make the port channel. I just allow that both put under the port channel, and then they start doing the communication. So it's very easy, guys. And sometime you have to do this Ether channel configuration based on the protocol. That is like we have the dynamic desirable, we have the active passive. So what is active? So if you are running the LSAP, and let me just tell something. So you see here we have some kind of the modes where I just check that. Let me show you. So see, there are different mode. You can just focus on this one. So this is active, means one side, this is the firewall, this is the switch. If here is active, they will negotiate the ether channel. Means LSCP protocol is going to turn, they are going to negotiate the ether channel. One is active, one is passive, then again they are going to negotiate. If both sides are passive, they will never negotiate. Means this never going to form the ether channel. Okay. So LSCP basically, and active passive is for the LSCP. On is for just, different type of ether channel. Means this is static one, means both sides you make the on and they're going to create the ether channel. Rest you see the desirable, dynamic desirable, you see auto and desirable dynamic. These all are the Cisco proprietary. Means if you want to build the ether channel based on the Cisco proprietary, it is possible you can do that also. So we are not going to touch these three. These are useless for us, but we just have to make sure you select the active. Active by default it is going to happen from the firewall side. So anyone is going to just create the LSAP under the active. It is unconditionally they are going to bring the ether channel. These are the basic things. And if you have any kind of a doubt like how to create the ether channel on the Cisco devices, just go Cisco switch. So you just open any kind of the document, you are going to find these commands. So very straightforward. You can see here. If you have the trunk port, then you have to create this kind of the port. So we are not going to make a trunk. We have the access port. That's why we created the access port. But if you have the trunk port, you want to just create a trunk, then it is going to create on that particular encapsulation .1q and the ether channel. But in our case, it's the access port. So probably it is not working. So that's why I just created the access port. So let me see, still it is down or up. Still it's down. But you can see this port channel is up. Here you just see that means S is basically is the layer 2 and U is in use. That's all. Clear? So it's very easy to create the bundle of this particular FortiGate firewall. Now let me move to different case. So let's suppose, let me stop it here. Okay, so now we have the concept in the FortiGate firewall that is known as the zone. So what is the zone, right? So we just have to understand what is the zone. Please mute, guys. Someone is unmuted. So what is zone? So basically in the Palo Alto firewall or Cisco firewall, they have the different like use case for the zone. But in the FortiGate firewall, zone is totally different. Means if I'm talking about the zone, that means I'm just going to logical group. Means I'm just going to do the logical grouping of the one or more physical or virtual interfaces. So let's suppose I have some requirement. Let's suppose I just want to make sure these two VLANs want to go on the internet. And these two subnet might be, these two subnet also want to go on the internet. But initially they have the different requirement. Means this interface want to go on the google.com. This interface want to go on the some kind of the yahoo.com or Facebook or like youtube.com. So we have the different policy, but there is an organizational need where we have the IT department, we have the HR department, we have the sales department, and we want all three have the similar kind of the policy to just access the internet, access the SaaS application, access the cloud-based application. Then how it is possible? So it is very difficult to make a similar policy again and again per department. So if I have the multiple department, multiple kind of the subnets, so the policy is going to be huge, and the network administration, like administrator work is going to be increased. So to minimize those kind of the work in the Palo Alto firewall, what we can do that we can simply based on the zone, we can club multiple VLAN together and we can create the single policy, single NAT rule. How it is going to happen? Let me show you. So zone is nothing, just logically or means physical interface or virtual interface. I want to aggregate, then it is going to happen. So here you can see that we have the interfaces. Like we have the VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. So let's suppose I want to create one policy. So I will go here in the firewall And here you see we have, let me create a new policy. So I'll just select it. So technically, let me see, it can be deleted. So now this policy has been deleted. Okay, so I'll create one policy. So test one policy. And I'll put the incoming interface as a VLAN 10. Outgoing interface, now we have the port 1, where they are wanted to go on the internet. So I'll put this VLAN, and source could be, I can put the same address. Destination could be the any, all. Services could be all. And I just enable the NAT and all. I click OK. So now this is my single policy. And if in this policy, I want to allow VLAN 10, let me just open it. So sorry, VLAN 20. See, I can not add two VLAN together. Means this is the problem. Means if I want to add these two VLANs, this option is not coming. So I have to create two policy. For VLAN 10, one, VLAN 20, another policy. If 30, again policy. 40, again policy. But in Palo Alto or maybe other firewalls, if you're creating one policy, you can add the multiple interfaces, multiple subnets, right? But here we just have the incoming interface 1. So that's the problem. So we cannot add it. So if I want to allow the VLAN 20, again, I have to create another policy. Test 2. I can add this policy. And incoming interface, I'll put the VLAN 20 this time. Outgoing is the 1. Source I'll add. Let's suppose this time. I believe, yeah, this is /20. Okay. 20 subnet. This is all. Services, I'll click all. This is done. I'll click OK. So this has been also done. So now my both policy has been created. But if I'm going to use the zone, so I don't have to define again two policy. I simply create one zone. I'll club these two VLANs together and I can create the policy. So let me delete this, or might be leave it as it is. I can create one interface. So I will go in the network. Here, I'll go here and see here is a zone. So I'll create zone. And this is my LAN zone. In this zone, or might be, what was the VLAN? Let me just see that. We have the IT and sales. So I'll just create the zone here. IT sales. And I'll just make the member. So right now this port has been used. So I have to release them first. Let me see where they have been used. Let's see.
I guess in a policy.
Yeah, let me just delete them. Okay. Let me delete from policy. Let me first delete them. I'll go here again. Let me delete the policy. So now they has been deleted. I'll go again in this section zone. And see now we have these two VLAN is free. Okay. So I will just put IT and sales, and I will add these two VLANs. So now we just added the VLANs. So you can put any comment as well. And now I'll put OK. So if you see here below, we have the IT and sales zone created. And in this zone, we have two VLANs as well. So now if I want to create again a policy, I don't have to go again and again to policy, and I can just make that entry 2 times. I'll simply go in the policy. I'll simply go in the firewall, and here I'll just make the one policy, test one policy. And in this section, I'll just simply go and define the IT and sales zone simply. And this zone have already two VLANs, you can see. An outgoing interface, I can just define the WAN interface. This is my WAN interface. And further, you can define the source address. 10 and 20 is there. So you just define 10 and 20. Destination, put all. Services, you can put all. And you click OK. So this is how your zone is going to simplify your communication. While accessing any internet application, you just have to do simple configuration based on the zone, and you can club the multiple logical and physical interfaces together. So it is going to be savior for you. Okay, clear? What is zone?
Oh yeah, I'm having one doubt. Can you create a one policy from VLAN 10 as a source and VLAN 20 as a destination? I just want to check means whether it's allow it or
No,
not.
it is not. You can see once, like last time,
Not
Pritham
possible.
also asked this, right? Pritham, you asked the same thing, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So this is not allowing. So I check event. So once we aggregated the interface, we just have to give the policy based on that only.
Okay, so
So due to these options, so we have to be create a lot of policies in firewall. No?
Means lot of policy in the firewall means.
See, what if we have created the zone. So I want to be create the policy for the single VLAN. So that
Hmm.
could not be possible. So does it mean I have to be make it by separate
Yeah,
policy for
so
each VLAN?
zone is only requirement based on your even check for a different mode also. It's not supporting. So zone is only recommended when we have the exact similar kind of the policy requirement for the LAN infrastructure. So let's suppose
Only in FortiGate, na sir. But otherwise, Palo Alto, to we can.
no, Palo Alto you can create a lot of you can
Okay,
FortiGate
okay.
only. FortiGate only this has a feature. No other
Mhm.
firewall have such kind of limitations. If you're creating, you can do that.
So
But
it is advantage or disadvantage from, but it seems
it's just a
it is
feature. If you
disadvantage.
don't want to use zone, then you have just no free option. You can create the lot of policy based on the
Yes,
individual source and destination, even the IP as well. There's no problem. Okay,
yes, sir, yes.
Amol, you have anything?
yeah, yes. So it's just a feature means whether we have to use it, we have. Otherwise, I don't think
Hmm.
so. It is necessary.
Right, right. Okay, so let me move to the next thing. Small things we have to learn. So next thing we have is the virtual wire, right? So let me open that lab. Let me just close this. So let me stop this entire lab. So we have to understand about the virtual wire pair. This is the one mode of deployment. So let me see where is the lab. Yeah, this is lab. So what is a virtual wire? First we have to understand, and then we have to do the configuration as well. So let me start this entire lab. So in virtual wire, what is going to happen? Your Palo Alto or might be the FortiGate firewall, they all are going to be, means both are going to work in the same functionality. Let's suppose you have some kind of the LAN network, right? You want to go on the internet, but earlier you don't have any kind of the firewalls in between. So you're just sending the plain traffic from your LAN to internet. I mean, there is no security at all. But let's suppose you have the requirement. You want to make sure my firewall should be come in a picture between these two locations, LAN to WAN, and you want to inspect all the traffic. But the condition is there is no luxury to change your IP addressing schema. Means the cabling should be the same, IP should be the same on the both side, but still you want to inspect the traffic. Then how it is possible? So this is only possible with the help of the vWire, that is known as the virtual wire pair deployment, right? So in this mode, what is going to be happen? Your firewall is going to act as a transparent mode, means there is no IP, there is no VLANs, means no routing, no switching is going to happen, but still your all traffic is going to be inspected. Whenever traffic is coming from the source, wanted to go any destination, they are going to be inspected from the firewall point of view, right? So actual my IP is going to remain same on the routers from ISP to your internal routers, But whenever the process is going to happen from the firewall, any traffic, this firewall is still capable to block or allow any traffic. Okay. So this is the use case of the vWire. Means it's going to be used for the POC, proof of concept kind of deployment. You want to do any kind of testing, or might be the merging of the company where you want to integrate the firewall before you do the merging, and even you don't want to touch their IP schema and cabling. So means cabling is definitely going to be touched because you have to connect the physical cable from here to here. Earlier they are directly connected, but now you have to move the physical cable from the firewall to the router and again router to the firewall. But there is no IP, there is no VLAN is going to be there. So let me just do that. I'll first make these devices setup. So they are the VPC. So I will simply make them some IP. So here I'll give the IP address is 172.16.10.2. So IP 172.16.10.2/22.172.16.10.1. Here I'll go and give the IP address 192.168. This is going to be 2/24.192.168.10.1. This is also done. I'll go in the routers. I'll do some basic configuration. There is no configuration, and then we'll do the later firewall configuration as well. So router, I'll just configure two interfaces. Interface. This is Ethernet 0x0. IP address. So IP address 10.10.10.1 255.0. I'll make no shut. Then one more interface I have. This is another interface, Ethernet 0x1. 0x1. IP address 172.16.10 I'll configure 1 and 255.255.255.0. I'll make no shut. Okay. So done this side. Let me go in VPC and try to ping the gateway. So gateway should be reachable. I believe I make something wrong. Let me stop it. Start it again. Show IP. There's no IP. Let me configure 172.16.10.2/24 172.16.10.1. Okay, let me ping again. Gateway 172.16. So it is pinging the gateway. Okay. So this side done. Now let me go on the already here configured IP address. I'll go on the router 2. And here I'll just do the configuration. To interface, I'll go Ethernet 0x0. Ethernet 0x0. IP address I will go give 2.25.225.0. No shut. Here is IP address Ethernet 1. Okay, so this is done also. So let me just check this also. It is pinging or not gateway 192.168.10.1. So it is pinging. So we have the local connectivity. Now you can see I configured the IP address, this interface, and I configured the IP address this interface. If I try to ping from here to here and here to here, it is not going to work because in between we have the firewall. And firewall doesn't have any configuration. But if I connect a direct cable here to here, they are going to work. So let me first verify whether we have the ping reachability or not. So I'll go in the R1. Let me just force host name R1. Do right. And I'll just try to ping 10.10.2. It is not pinging, guys, right? So how I can do the vWire configuration on the FortiGate firewall so that they can start doing the communication. Okay, so first thing, you just have to go in the FortiGate firewall. Let me just open it. And you have to change the password. No password, put enter. Again, I have to put the new password. And now I have changed the password. Show system interface. You just see, I have this IP address. So simply I'll go in my browser and log in this IP address. Now you can see I'm in the firewall and we'll just log in admin. This is going to be login. I'll create later. Click OK. Now I'm the firewall. So very first thing, you see, we have the network and we have the policy, but you are not showing any kind of the vWire policy. So how this vWire policy, because it's not a normal policy, you have to create the virtual wire policy as well. So let me first create the interface which need to be part of the vWire, and then we'll see how the vWire policy is going to be look like. So I'll go in the network, I'll go in the interface, and here I have the two interface, port 2 and port 3. This need to be converted to the vWire. So I'll go here, I'll go in the virtual wire mode, and I'll put the name as the vWire. And I'll simply just add 2 port here. See, it is saying that a virtual wire pair must have exactly 2 interface member, even not less, not more. So we just like have to add 1 more port, and then I'll click OK, done. So my job has been done, but still if I try to ping, you will find that my ping is not going to work point to point. Say still not working. So still something is missing, which we need to figure it out. But here you can see there is a virtual pair wire and it is configured. Now moving in the policy. You see here firewall virtual wire pair policy has been enabled, but prior this version, prior the 7.0 version, in 6.0, this policy by default was not enabled. You have to go in the system, you have to go in the feature visibility, and you have to enable additional feature. And there is the option policy advanced option. You need to enable this option. I can do that because this is going to give the advanced feature in the FortiGate firewall. But in the vWire, it is by default enabled in the 7.0 and after that 7.1 series, 7.2 series, 7.3 and 4, whatever we have the firewalls now, they already, whenever you add any interface in the vWire, it will automatically enable the policy. But in case if you're running in the old version, this policy is not showing. So you just have to go here and just enable it. And then after it will start showing that. So for our case, it is not required, but I have just done for your reference. So now you go in the vWire policy. In this vWire policy, you have to create some policy. Means from which source to which destination you want to allow the communication. So right now, I want to allow first 10 to 10, right? And also I want to allow 172 as well. So let me just create the policy where I can allow the both subnet. So I will create my LAN to WAN policy. Okay. And you can see this is the like 2 ports. They're going to make the communication. So I will add like source. If I have the address, I can add, or I can just make the all. Destination also I can make the all. Services also I can make the all. And NAT is not going to be required because we don't require any NAT. It's simply we have the 10 to 10 and 192 kind of something. Basically LAN to LAN. If we have the internet, you want to do the NAT. So you in that case you have to do the NAT, but it's not required here. And just wanted to capture all session. I'll create OK. So now my vWire policy has been created. Now let me show you whether we have the communication or not. So now you see, I'm able to ping. Earlier it was not able to ping. If I try to ping from here as well, it is pinging. But if I try to ping from this PC to this PC, it is not going to ping because we don't have the forward and reverse routing from this router. Means the packet will come from this PC, it will hit to the router and it will try to go 192 subnet, but we don't have any route pointing toward this next hop. So what I'll do that, I'll put the default route and I'll put the next hop 10.10.10.2. Similarly, if this will initiate the packet, it will reach to this particular router, but they don't have any route to go to the 172 network. So I will create the default route again here, right? But next hop would be 10.10.10.1. Okay, so let me show the routing and I'll do the basic routing on the firewalls. So here I'll go and I'll just run show IP route. You can see there is no routing for the 192 here. And if you guys go and check here, there is no for the 172. So I'll go here and I'll configure the IP route. Do right. And I'll go here as well. Config T. And I'll just put this is also done. Okay. Now if I'll go on the VPC one and I'll try to ping end to end, means this from this PC. Let me check the IP. Show IP 172. I'll just try to ping this PC, which have the IP 192. So let me ping here 192.168.10.2. See, we have the end-to-end reachability. Let me put the extended ping here. So my firewall is processing the traffic. And if I want to block some traffic, we'll see that how it is going to block as well. So this is also pinging. So you just go in the firewall and verify whether my firewall is processing traffic or not. So just go in the log forward traffic. You see, you have the traffic from 2 to 1 and 1 to 2, but they will update the traffic from the 192, 172 as well after some time. It will take few minutes, but it is going to be updated. But if you just go in the dashboard, you want to check, just go in the source, you will find that 172, 192 traffic is going on. Only it is not updated in the log format. So see, this is a traffic, ICMP traffic, and this much traffic you have already sent it. And let me show here again. It will take a little bit time. It will definitely reflect it. See, now it is showing. So we have the traffic from 172 to 192. Later on, we'll see from 192 to 172 as well. So now we understand based on the vWire, we can do the communication. But now there is a one requirement we have. Let's suppose you want this source IP should able to ping this PC, but you want this source IP should not able to ping this PC. Can I do that? The answer is yes, we can do that. That's the beauty of the vWire. Means you can do the inspection of the all traffic without any routing, without any switching. So how we can do that? We have to create the policy and we have to specifically, we have to tell to the firewall, if any traffic coming from this source to this destination, you need to block it based on the IP to IP. If anything going from this one, it should be reachable. So let me first test from 172.16.10.1, we have the reachability or not. How can you change? I'll go in the router and I'll ping 192.168.10.2 with the source 172.16.10. I will take a source as a 1. See, it is pingable. And this is also pinging. You can see this PC also reaching to the 192, but now I have to stop this ping. So how I can do that? I'll go in my firewall and I'll go in the vWire policy. I'll go in the policy. This is my vWire policy. In this policy, I'll create one policy on top of this policy because this policy allowed everything. But now I want to block one single IP. So I'll go here and I'll click policy, block from or block IP. I can just put any name. Now it is asking the source. So we don't have the source where I can just define the single IP address. So I can create one IP address and I can just give the IP LAN IP. And here I can just give the IP and I'll give the 172.16.10.2/32, just single IP address. Okay. And I'll click OK. So this has been created. Now what destination I want to go? This could be another IP. That is my 172.168.10.2. So I'll create one more user. I'll explain what is the address group later on. But I'm just showing you WAN IP. And I'll just make the IP 192.168.10.2/20/32. Just single IP address. Okay, this is done. Not here. I'll just go here and I'll just define services any. But what action I want? I want to block everything. Means what I'm saying, if any traffic coming from this LAN IP, which have the 172.16.10.2, want to go this WAN IP address, you block anything. So I'll create OK. But the sequence is very important. So this policy is below of the any. So I have to put this policy on top of this policy. So just drag and drop it. Job has been done. Now if I see here, I lost the connectivity. Means firewall stop pinging, means the device is stop pinging to another device, and firewall is stopping this connection based on the vWire policy inspections. So you can see, means vWire can do the all policy inspection. If you want to do the content inspection, virus, antivirus, DOS, malware, any kind of SSL encryption, that all possible. But only you cannot do any routing, you cannot do any switching. If you go in the router, still this will be the reachable. Let me show you. See, I'm able to ping. But only the single host, it is not pingable. So you guys understand what is vWire? Any doubt, guys?
Yes, sir. Clear. Sir, when you create the vWire, there is a wildcard VLAN.
Okay, this one.
When you create the
Okay. Let me show you. This one, right? So this wildcard VLAN, basically you can just give the VLAN ID range. Let's suppose by default, every VLAN is going to pass. Similar concept is the Palo Alto also, right? So by default, we have the standard VLAN range from 1 to 4094. So by default, if you're not going to give any range, so every VLAN is going to pass. But if you want to give the range, then only those VLAN is going to pass.
Okay.
Means let's suppose you have the layer 2 circuits. If there's a layer 3, there's no VLAN tagging required. But let's suppose you have the tagged with, packet is coming, VLAN tag. So by default, you have to process the tags from the firewall as a transparently. Means they will process the tag. So by default, you allow 1 to 4096. Means all VLAN is pass, right? But you just limit that. You want to pass from this to this range only. So that will only process via this particular vWire. Rest is going to be dropped by default.
Got it.
Clear?
Ekdam clear.
So this is about any other question, guys?
So wildcard VLAN is basically to allow specific VLAN, you want to say?
Yes, means VLAN range. Means we have the layer 2 circuits, layer 3 circuit, right? So layer 2 circuits required end-to-end VLAN mapping. But if we are not going to allow the VLAN tag on the wildcard, means the vWire mode interfaces, so they will not allow end-to-end communication. Means traffic is going to break in between. So that's why tagging should be processed. So you have to give the range, which tagging you want to allow. So by default, all tagging will allowed. but in some case you want to just make sure like additional security, and you want certain range of tag only should be allowed, certain VLAN only to be allowed. So you can do that also.
Okay, so this is for the basically connectivity between the router to router, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Let's suppose you have this scenario. This two router, okay? And in this router, we have the layer 2 circuits.
Exactly. With 2P circuit, you can.
And here we just getting the dot 1Q interface, right?
Yes.
Now, in between, we have the layer 2 switch. Okay, might be ISP having the layer 2 switch. So let's suppose I created a VLAN 10 here, 10 here. So this tag need to be processed by switch as well. Means we have to create VLAN 10 here in the switch, and these two ports should be part of this VLAN. Either they are trunk, then they have to tag this VLAN. If they are access, then they have to allow that interface on the VLAN. Then only my end-to-end path is going to be clear. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Same concept is here. Let's suppose there is a layer 2 circuit and I'm not going to allow the VLAN, then my traffic is going to be break. So that's why by default, all VLAN is going to be pass. But if you want to limit some VLAN range, you can do that also. Shall I move next? If you all okay?
Yes.
Okay. So let me discuss last thing, that is the One-Armed-Sniffer. Just give me 1 minute. So we have one concept that is known as the One-Armed-Sniffer. So what does means One-Armed-Sniffer? Let me open the lab. Okay. So this is the lab for the One-Armed-Sniffer. So let me just configure it. Okay. So let's understand what is the One-Armed-Sniffer. So in One-Armed-Sniffer, what is going to happen? Let's suppose in Palo Alto Firewall, we known as the tap mode interface. So you want to configure your firewall as a like a device where all packet is going to be captured. Then you have to deploy this firewall as a One-Armed-Sniffer mode. Means there is no routing again, no switching again. And you want to, let's suppose this user want to access any kind of a traffic to the internet, and you want to see what user is accessing, and you want to see this all log this in the firewall, then you can configure this as a One-Armed-Sniffer. So whatever the communication is going to happen from the LAN to WAN, this all is going to be captured by the Palo Alto firewall, FortiGate firewall via this switch. So this switch is going to act as a span switch. So what is a span and what is the R span? There is two concepts in the switching, and versus ER span. So if you have done the CCNP in core, you must have this kind of the concept. So let me briefly give that, all idea. So span is known as a switch port analyzer. R span is a remote switch port analyzer. ER span is the encapsulated remote switch port analyzer. That is for the layer 3. So there is a one switch. And if you want to monitor any port traffic to any other port, let's suppose you have connected one of the laptop where the WireSAC is connected, and any traffic is coming from this interface and going to this interface, and you want to monitor all traffic on this laptop within the switch, then you have to run the span, right? That is a switch port analyzer. Let's suppose you have the requirement. This is the one switch, and here traffic is going, and here traffic is going to the internet, and you want to monitor this port traffic on this switch one, this device, then you have to use the R span. Means your like monitoring device is connected remotely, not on the same switch. Then you have to use the protocol that is R span. Let's suppose this is not switch, this is a router, and you have to do the monitoring. Then you have to use the ER span. So this is just for the monitoring thing, like you want to monitoring the traffic, then you have to use this concept. So what we are going to do that, we are going to use the span here, switch port analyzer. In this scenario, what is going to happen? This PC is going to communicate to the internet, but whatever traffic is coming on this interface and going on this interface, I want to make the monitoring on the firewall via this interface. So this port is going to be monitor port, and it is going to send all traffic out to this FortiGate firewall, and FortiGate firewall is going to configure this interface as a one arm, and this is just going to monitor each and every configuration. Clear? Everyone understand the requirement?
Yes, sir. But why we need the 1-hour sniffer?
It's just a additional feature if you want to use your FortiGate firewall just for the packet capture, or you want to monitor the traffic.
If I am installing the FortiGate, then why I will use to only 1-hour
You
sniffer? How
technically
to I
you
convey my manager my management?
there could be like multiple use case. Might be you are not the person who is going to use that, but some of the organization, they just want to see that what is happening in my network. They want to monitor entire core switch traffic, what is happening for just monitoring purpose, like for compliance purpose. So in that scenario, you can use the firewall as a one arm. So it's a valid business case. That's why this feature is available, and most of the organization use. But nowadays we have the lot of tools available. So we rarely going to be used because we have the very intelligence tool available who are just doing the very great monitoring for the all kind of traffic. So, but still this feature is available and we should know about it. Okay, Pritham.
Yes, sir. Yes, ekdam.
Yeah, but there is technically you are not going to find. You just want to do the POC and all, then you can just test it. Else, every company have their very dynamic tools available and they are doing the monitoring and all. So let me first do the configuration of this PC. So I'll go here and we have this switch as well. So let me go on this switch and we have this internet router as well. So let me just go on the switch. Sorry. Let me go on the PC first. I'll go here and I'll configure the IP address, adapter settings. And this is 192.168.10.10. So I'll configure 192.168.10.10. I'll give the gateway that is going to configure on the router. Okay. So this has been done. Now I'll go on the switch and config T. And let's make this two port as a VLAN 192. So I'll make them as a 192 and here I'll configure the gateway as well. So end to end my connectivity is going to be happen. VLAN 192, interface range. What is the interface? Ethernet 0 by 1 and 2. Gig 0 by 1 and 2. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 192 and do right. Now let me go in the switch. Sorry, router. And I have to do the configuration on this particular router as well. So here I'll go and I'll config interface. What is the interface? Ethernet 0 by 0. I will give the IP address 192.168.10.1 to 55 to 55 to 55.0. And I'll make no shut. Okay. And I'll configure the interface loop back 1. I'll give the IP address also 1.1.1.1 to 55 to 55 to 55 to 55. I'll configure another loop back like 8. I'll give the IP address 8.8.8 to 55 to 55. And this is 255. This is also done. I'll make the do right. Let me just check. Test spaces should able to reach this address because they are directly connected all. So let me just check it. So it is pingable. If I ping 1.1.1, it is also going to ping because there is no routing required. They are directly connected on the router, and gateway is directly also connected with the PC via switch. So nothing is going to require. So you can see this user is accessing these two subnets, loopback and gateway and all, but this switch is not sending any traffic to the this firewall. So how I can do, and this is start sending the traffic. So let me first take the firewall access. I'll configure, there's no password. I'll just do this admin and admin again and show interface, sorry. So system interface. So 236 is the IP. So I'll just go here 192 and 236. I'll just log in it here. And after that, I'll just make it later and click OK. And I'll go in the network interface. And what is my interface? My interface is a port 2. So just go on the interface port 2, click on it. And you don't have to give anything on this particular port. You just have to click One-Armed-Sniffer. Okay. So this is how, if you just go here again, let me show you. Create interface. And you just go here. We don't have this option. You can see. So you don't have to go on the interface type. And likewise, the VLAN aggregated, whatever we have done, you just have to ignore it. You simply click on the interface. And after clicking on the interface, double click it. You want to put anything, you can just put here like alias, just kind of the description. And you can put is like One-Armed-Sniffer. Select it. There's no IP, nothing. You want to just like inspect the antivirus, web filtering, that all you can do that. But rest, nothing is going to be required. You just click OK. My job has been done. But if this PC is sending the traffic, let me show you. This will never going to capture until I'll configure the span on the switch. So it is pinging the 1.1.1. See here. This 2 ping is working right now. But if you go on the firewall, you cannot find any kind of traffic is coming here. See, no traffic is coming. But once I'll configure the span on the switch, this switch starts sending the traffic, whatever going via these two interfaces on this interface. So let's see how it is going to happen on the switch. So I'll go on the switch and there is a command. Let me I just want to ignore this log. So I just run the command no logging console. Now what you have to run on the switch to make sure this logs are going to be push from the switch to the firewall. So you have to create monitor session and you have to put any span number. So let me put 10, any number you can choose. And there is option, which source interface or VLAN you want to monitor. So I'll just select source and I'll put the interface and I want any traffic is going G0 as a source. So I want to monitor. So G0 Now it is going to ask, you want to monitor the receive traffic on this interface or transmit traffic on this interface. So I'll make both. Okay. Means any traffic is going in on this interface or going out for this interface, it is going to monitor. Similarly, you can do for this also. So I'm just doing for this one. You want to do this one, you can do that also. So both. What you have to do, you just have to make the another is a 02. So now I'm just doing this 2 interface monitoring based on the any traffic coming in, any traffic going out. Clear? Now, after monitoring, what I want to do that. So again, I have to go monitor session and I'll put the same session ID. And here is the destination. I want to send this traffic. And which port I want to send? I want to send on the interface, this interface, G is 0 So I simply go on the interface, gig 0 I don't want to allow any encapsulation or all. I just simply click OK and do right. Done. So my configuration is done. Now let me show you. Show, run, include, monitor. So this is the command I have done. 2 command I run, but they just club 2 command in the single command because these 2 are going to single command. Just the port has been added there. And this is the monitor destination. If you want to run this command, So monitor session 10. So it is going to show you these two interfaces, 0 by 0, 0 by 2 is getting monitored and you are sending on this interface. Now, most important guys, see, if I run the command show IP interface brief on this switch, show IP interface brief, you are seeing that this port is showing down and down. So will it send the traffic? And these two ports showing up and up. What do you guys think? If it is down and down, this is going to send the traffic or not?
Yes, it will send. If you see show interface GI
Yes,
00,
so if you just
it
see
may
why it is going to send, because this
monitored.
normal behavior, it is going to show in the monitoring stage. Let me show you. So this is a special interface that is the monitor stage. So you don't have to worry why it's down. If any interface is the monitoring, their protocol is always going to be down. If you check this one, this interface, this is not going to be monitoring. So if this is not in monitoring, this is always going to be up and up. So that's why it is showing down and down, but you can see my traffic is going. And now if I'm moving to the FortiGate firewall and I just refresh it here, there should be some traffic. Why it is not coming? Okay. It will come in sniffer mode, but it will take a little bit time, I believe. So you just have to wait. Let me see. If you see run here, you see here capturing is happening. So here also we can see the traffic is coming or not. See, the traffic is coming. You can see here the traffic is coming. That means this device is capturing the traffic. 3%. Okay. So let me see. Sniffer traffic. It is not showing here in sniffer traffic. It will show later on, but let me show here in the Wireshark. You are going to see the traffic as well. So let me go again in the interface. Send, but let me download this traffic. Okay. So if I just go in the download, so this has been downloaded, and let me just open this Wireshark. You are going to find, let me just close it. See here. So this is the traffic. So you just sending the traffic from 192.168.10.10 to 1.1 ICMP traffic. This is the traffic you're sending from the 192.168.8.8. So this is how you going to monitor the traffic exactly in the Wireshark. So anything which is happening, you keep capturing on the FortiGate firewall and you can see in the Wireshark only. So it is always going to possible. You just have to enable, if you want to see the Wireshark, see it is 17% traffic has been captured. So till the time my ping is going to work. Once I stop, it will stop the capturing. Even this capturing is also going to stop. If you want to stop from here, it is going to stop here from also. And you want to analyze the Wireshark, this is how you can analyze the Wireshark as well. So this is about the One-Armed-Sniffer. Any question? Or we are good? If good, we can have the next session. That is also going to very meaningful, guys, because basic foundation, we have some idea now, interface level configuration. Now we have to understand about the routing. Means how we can do the static routing configuration, how we can do the dynamic routing configuration, how we can do the small policy creations on the FortiGate firewall. Then we'll go advanced because we're just beginning of the classes. Okay. So let's close it here from my side. If you have any question, please let me know.
No, sir, no question.
No questions.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.